Well, good morning. I'm Zorrina Harmon. I'm the Member Benefits Director with the association, and I have with me this morning Kim Bowman, who is our 1% Retirement Coordinator, and Greg Bolano, who is our Leadership Development Coordinator. And we're just going to take some time to walk through and see what you do for the association. So we're going to start with Kim. Kim, I know that you handle the sort of that transition between all three of the levels of our retirement plan. So I know we have the sponsor, who's the association. You have a third-party administrator, who is Milliman. And then you have our investment group, who is CCM.
Correct.
And then we have Kim Bowman, who is one of our newest staff members, but you've been part of the association for years. So just tell us what that sort of looks like and where you came from and how you're helping us now with the retirement plan.
Okay, so I started with Toledano and Associates about, I'm going on 13 years ago.
13 years, wow.
And once they transitioned from Toledano to Milliman, they kind of needed the person to be the inside person that can navigate between the two, Milliman and the association, or the firefighters, the departments. So that's my role, and I'm enjoying every minute of it. But they can actually contact me for anything, and then I can help walk them through.
Because I know that there's probably not one member that hasn't talked to you who's in the plan.
Yeah, there's been quite a few, yes.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Well, I know we have been at the booth all week, and people have steadily been asking questions. So I thought a neat little topic would just be, what are basically the top 3 common questions that you get?
On a daily basis, and I get them on a daily basis, and that is, how do I get online? Because Milliman is a company that is strictly online, so they allow you to view your reports and everything online. But it is for administrative role leaders anyway first. It's not each fireman. But so they call me and say, how can I get online? That's their big question. And then the next one would be, how do I update a roster? And because it's so many different reasons to update it, if you have a new terminee or a new hire, and unless you put them on the roll, they have no way of knowing that they're added. So as they add them on the portal, they should always add them to the roster for Milliman.
For Milliman.
Yeah, in order. So that's a big one. But then the other ones are, how can I join?
As simple as that.
It is. And then I can go down and give them a lot of benefits, but you, being the benefits person, your head, I tell them to get in touch with Zorrina, because she's got a lot more benefits.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yes.
But what you do is important, and I think that's probably the top 3 questions we get as well.
Yeah.
You know, just how can I get online, especially with that transition now that we are all on there. And just tell our members today, what is that process? It's, and something brief just to let them know how they can get online and where they need to go to make that happen.
Okay, so if you've never been online, ever, you have to kind of get in touch with me. Okay. And I can help get you a sign-on, because they have to set you up, and it's for chiefs and admin.
So the chief has to appoint somebody if they don't want that responsibility.
Yeah, and most of the time they don't.
Okay. They want somebody else to
pass
do
it.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And because that's not a daily interactivity thing that they want to deal with. They're already busy.
Sure.
So they'll pass that down, and once they get someone set up for that, Milliman will send you a login. You create your password, and you follow some of their roles or their bullet points on how to get online. And once you get online, it's pretty simple. It is. It's just a little tricky. They have it very secure. So you have a lot of out and backs, and most of the time they miss that first step. So they make the phone call because they're frustrated, but once they call me and I can help them get through that, it's easy.
Yeah, and I think the takeaway to that is to our members, if you are getting bogged down or you just don't know, call Kim.
Yes.
Visit our website, get her phone number, call her. She has the answers, and she really does take that time, because I've seen it happen. When you call me, I send you to Kim, and she literally takes the time to step by step, sits you down at the computer, walks you through it.
Yes.
So that way there's no frustration. We want to
Exactly.
eliminate that. And I think that was sort of the what the thought process was when hiring you, was we're going to try to take that, alleviate that from our membership, put that on you, which
Yes.
you do a great job, and guide our members in the right direction.
It's a role of customer service for the
Sure.
association, and one of the main reasons is because it used to be they could pick up the phone and call me directly,
Right.
and we just kept that same little customer service benefit that they can still call me, and
Which
I
is
can
great.
help them
And I know they're appreciative.
get through that. Yes.
And I know that's been a transition. So now we're a little
Yes.
over a year of switching from Toledano and Associates to Milliman. So now that we're in it, okay, we're in that transition, what would you give some advice to our members? What's the biggest thing that you want, what's the takeaway that's going to help them get through the process?
Well, there's a lot of positives. Just being able to see it online, being able to just, it takes a lot of the paperwork
Sure.
away. And I think that's what the members wanted anyway.
Yeah.
They wanted that to stop the paper
Yeah.
trail, but you still have to have a little bit of that.
Right.
But,
And even
Yeah.
even taking a step further, not just focusing on third-party administration, but the plan itself. It's
Right.
not that average.
no, it's
401k.
not. It's definitely not it's under the 401k as an
Right.
apple, but that same type plan, it's qualified. You get a lot of benefits, but it is not a daily valuation.
Right.
It is a 6-month average. So, and when you've got a lot of money that your money is being invested with, your rate of return is going to be greater. Obviously, if there's a loss, you can't help that. That's the
Right.
stock market.
Yeah.
But it's a large benefit, and it helps the firefighter because it's basically nothing more than a freebie to
Right.
say.
And I think you said it best to me over there in the corner. You said, why not?
Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
And I think that's probably the biggest thing is if you have the funds that are available through the 1%, what a great thing to take care of your members
Absolutely.
in the future.
Yeah, because it
So-
does grow. Even if you're given $50 a week,
Right.
you're still,
Right.
for that young firefighter that's starting out, he's
Yeah.
going to get a lot of money by the time he retires. And you want to try to give him the benefits to show him the fire service is where you need to be.
Yeah, and I think it's that great balance because my passion. My passion is taking care of the member now when they have that need. I want to
Yes.
make sure they're taken care of. So I love to see them utilize the 1% to purchase policies that help them
Yes.
in the time of need now,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
But we're advocates of putting everything in retirement because it's going to take care of your future. And it's one of the best ways that we say you can take that with you when you leave.
Yes.
Because I can't just write you a check with 1%, right?
Right.
Big no. We know not to do
yes.
that.
Yeah, no.
Okay, so
And we just had a firefighter step up to me a minute ago that he really did not have knowledge
right?
of 1% and really what they could and could
Yep.
not do. So, and if you can't, or if you don't have the knowledge, call us.
Yep. That's the biggest
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Jeff Oswald, 1% coordinator, who
Absolutely.
you work with closely, does regional meetings all the time. You have the information. We just ask that you reach out and contact us because we're
Yes.
doing classes all the time. You walk them through it. We go out. Staff goes out to do those things. So please take advantage of it. It's there. And I do want to ask you, I know we harp on beneficiary forms all the time. This
Yes.
is another plan document with the association
Yes.
that you have, and it's a little bit more detailed. You want to go over that a little bit?
Yeah, so the website to go to is SCSFA-retire.com. And once you get on that website, there's a lot of tools that you can go to, but under resources. So if you go to resources, you've got a spot for members and for chiefs. And so for the members, if you click on that, the very first one is your beneficiary forms. And
Perfect.
you want to do that because just because you join the fire service and you fill out one when you do your initial application, it is not the same.
10 years later, right?
And it's not the same beneficiary.
We learned that. That's right. Not the
When
same
you
form.
want to take, if something foreseen
Yeah.
happens,
Yeah.
that is not a document that can be
Yeah.
used.
Right.
So you need a good 1% beneficiary form.
Very good. And I think just reiterate what she said, SCSFA-retire.com is where you can find all of those forms and all the information that you need about 1% retirement.
And a lot more
About
tools
and yes,
that you can
ton
go
of
to.
tools that you
Yeah.
can utilize for all departments. So,
Yes.
and most importantly, you can always call Kim Bowman. And we
Absolutely.
appreciate you being here today just to take the time to go over
Thank you.
this. And
Thank you.
I know it's something our members really take advantage of. I mean, I think I heard Robert say we were a little over 13,000 members
There's
in
more than
the
that now.
plan.
Yes. more
What an
now.
amazing number. When you have 17,500 members and 13 of those are in the plan, that says a lot.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
more than that. You're saying more than that.
Yeah, there's more.
Okay.
There's about 14.5.
14.5.
Yeah.
Wow.
So-
So right there, that is huge. And I
is.
think that says it all. So
does.
thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So we're going to transition now to, I always want to call him Chief Bolano. So Greg Bolano, former chief of North Charleston, and now one of our new hires as well, heading up our Leadership Institute. So we really wanted to talk about Leadership Institute. But before we sort of jump into it, tell me a little bit about your background, how long you've been in the fire service, how long were you chief?
Yes, thank you. It's good to be with you. So I started in the fire service in North Charleston. My entire career was in North Charleston, and I started in 1996 and thought I would do it for a couple years, but absolutely fell in love with the job and the people and everything about it, and was fortunate to have the opportunity to advance through the ranks in North Charleston. And I became chief in 2009 and was chief of the department for 15 years and retired at the beginning of last year. But got to work with a wonderful group of people in North Charleston. Fantastic people. We're a very active, a very busy department, served a wonderful community, and it was everything I could have asked for in a fire service career, and just feel extremely grateful to have had that opportunity.
No, and I got to know you through that role, which was extremely important to us, and you have always been so supportive of what we do and all of our benefits and the association and our mission. And so I think it was sort of appropriate when you were here to take on this little role, which is not really little. It's a big commitment to the Leadership Institute. But really, what sort of drove you in that direction? What were you thinking when you finished that, and how you looked at our Leadership Institute program and what you wanted to do for it?
So during my time as fire chief, I worked closely with the association. I served on the executive committee for a number of years and as the health and safety chair. And during that time, they implemented the Leadership Institute. It was about 15 years ago. And the way that program works, they travel around to different parts of the state to see the different types of departments that we have in South Carolina, and there's a tremendous variety that we have, and it's neat because the participants get to actually go and see them, spend some time there, talk to the members, talk to the chief, and learn about all the different types of departments that we have. One of those is the larger career departments, and North Charleston served as the host for a number of years.
Yep.
Yeah, and so I got to spend time with the members of the Leadership Institute as the host chief. We got to show them around, got to talk with them, get to interact with them, and I really got to see what a great program that it was, and we of course sent people to attend the program as participants as well, and they all described it as just a career-changing experience for them. These were up and comers. These were people with a lot of talent and ability, but by participating in the program, they really got to see so much of what the South Carolina Fire Service involves, and also a huge takeaway is they get to see everything that the association does. Every person who participates in the program says, I have no idea what the association, everything that they do. They thought they knew. There were pieces of it that they knew that they did, and they like that. But by participating in the program, they get to see that, they get to be involved in it. The members who are in the program right now are here in Myrtle Beach.
They're going through the midst of it right now.
Their day started bright and early out at the fun run, and
Yep.
it'll end late tonight after the banquet. But they're involved, and there's a purpose for that. There's everything that participants do is very intentional. It's to show them what the association does and to help them understand it and get a vision for where it can go as well. And so I was involved as a host chief, and then just fell in love with the program because of the impact of it. And then later served on the steering committee, which was a group of people who loved the program and wanted to continue to support and develop the program. Other members of that were on the podcast earlier this morning. Will Vinay, Joe Palmer, Chief Jonathan Jones.
Bruce Klein,
All of these guys who have a love for the program, for the members of the fire service, and want to see that those future leaders developed. And while I participated in the steering committee, some of the things that we talked about, some of the things that we had a vision for, we realized we needed a person to help us get there. Somebody to coordinate that. The staff of the association were involved in so many different things that there wasn't really the opportunity to add more without adding additional staff. And so we saw an opportunity for this role. And then when I was considering retirement over a number of years, I thought about, well, what's next for me? I'm still fairly young. I still, not if you ask my kids, but if you comparatively speaking, and I love the fire service, and there's more I'd like to contribute. So I thought, well, this would be the ideal opportunity for me. If there was a dream job after the dream job I had as North Charleston Fire Chief, it would be this one, and I couldn't be happier to have this opportunity.
That's awesome that you say that, because I think it was an appropriate choice. I think it was a great match. Just being able to know you over the course of that time, and just being here at the beginning of the Leadership Institute when that thought was there and it came to life, and now where we are today. And we've talked a little bit about what that looks like. You said they go around all these departments, they learn what other departments look like other than theirs. We get so tunnel vision at times of just what's around us, but it's good to go and visit that. But really, what is Leadership Institute? You touched on it a little bit, but really, what does Leadership Institute program look like? What does that mean? And what does it mean to you?
So the Leadership Institute is an executive leadership development program for the state, and it's a year-long program, and it's available to all of the members of the South Carolina Firefighters Association. So it is primarily for leadership development, but there's not a minimum rank that people have to hold to be in it, and that was very purposeful in the development. This wasn't for, well, this is to take deputy chiefs and develop them into fire chiefs, because some organizations may not have that rank,
Right.
and there may be people throughout the ranks that are informally really the leaders in those organizations, and that's who we're looking for. We're looking for those members, those up-and-comers who are doing great things in their community and aspire to do more, and are doing great things, or could be doing great things with our association at the state level, and aspire to do more as well. And we want to take those people and develop them.
Yeah.
So we've got this program. It's a year long. They typically meet once a month. Some of those are day trips. The latest group started in April, and they've come up. The last meeting was at the association office. They viewed an executive committee meeting where it was an active meeting, but also each member of the executive committee talked about what they do and their role and everything that's involved in that, and shared that with the members of the Leadership Institute. Prior to that, we had a meeting where the staff of the association did the same thing, to educate them on everything that goes on there. Then they come to Myrtle Beach and they get to see the conference. They get to participate in it. Some of them are attending classes right now, but they've also scanned people in and introduced the speakers, and attended some of the other things as well. So, and then we'll be going to State Fire coming up, where they'll meet with Chief Jones and his staff, and get to understand everything that goes on at State Fire, and with mobilization and everything that's involved up there. And then we'll begin visiting departments. In September, they'll be coming down to Charleston, spending several days down there, and they get to visit the SOFA Superstore site and hear from someone who was there that night and involved in that, and then talk to the chief of the department and get his thoughts on leadership. And so it's all of these experiences where they're not just sitting in a classroom hearing about leadership, but they're going out and they're seeing it firsthand, and getting to talk to people directly, and have that one-on-one communication, that interaction, and that relationship building that takes place when they have those opportunities. That's what's so different about it from other leadership development programs that I've participated in, and maybe others have as well. It's not sitting in a classroom and hearing about it, but it's going out. If your favorite part of school was field trips, this is the program for you, because that was for me. I wanted to go see. I wanted to put my hands on things. I wanted to talk to the person who does this or that, and that's how the Leadership Institute works, and that's what makes it such a great program. The other thing is, and I know we'll talk about selection, but the group itself. So it's limited to a group of 12 participants. We have 10 in it this year. There's a selection process to get just the right people in the program, and then that group networks and interacts and really develops strong camaraderie among the group, and they build really career-long, lifelong relationships where they can help each other throughout their careers, and provide perspective, provide listening to each other, provide guidance to each other that can really help them grow and develop in their careers. And those relationships, that's one of the things we always hear from alumni of the Leadership Institute is how powerful and how strong those relationships are that they build throughout the year through the the various activities. And again, everything is very intentional on how we do things, and to give them those opportunities to develop that.
'Cause that's what we get to see firsthand all the time when they're there. We see the aftermath of it. We see those relationships grow and what they can do. And the reason why I always love this program is because of it taking it out of the community and showing people that they serve their community and they do it well, but there's this state level that they get to see,
Yes.
and this national level.
Right.
So when they make a commitment to this program, it's a year-long commitment.
It is.
And you take them through this journey, and I know that they are better for it, and it is really good. And so, yeah, and you can talk about that selection process. That's one of the questions that I get all the time being out at departments is, what does that look like? I know there's an application process, but am I able to do it? You know, can I be selected? And all of those questions, and just maybe tell our membership a little bit about what that sort of looks like.
Sure. And so the selection process is all listed on the association's website. It's very transparent about what's involved with that. And the application process is open now. It opened June 1st, and it's open through August 31st. So there's time to do it. And it takes time to do it. It's there's an application process. It involves some narrative questions. It involves letters of support. When I was fire chief, I would have to provide those to my guys, and those can take time because it's getting the right people in the program is so important that that I took that responsibility seriously, and then our advisory committee who selects them takes that very seriously as well. There are also interviews. So there's an interview process where they come to Columbia, they sit before the advisory committee, and they answer their questions. And that's very involved and I think somewhat stressful to the candidates.
Yep.
It's not intended to be that way, but it's high stakes on whether they get into this incredible program or not.
And that in itself is a great teaching mechanism as well, just to have that one-on-one and group interview process. So
Yeah, that's an experience, and that's a skill you develop like any other skill, and how to do that well, and you want to come in prepared. There are questions you should be anticipating if you're coming into a leadership development program, and then from there, once they make it through that, there's still some additional pre-work that needs to be done, and based on the quality of the work that the candidates do, they could either continue in the program or not.
Right.
And that involves reading a book and providing some responses to that, and it's not a fire service book. It's a book from outside on leadership, and can they take these lessons and apply them to what they're dealing with on a day-to-day basis, because that's important. We need to our fire service is wonderful, but we need to get beyond that as well to look at other aspects of leadership, and so we're looking for candidates who are able to do that. And then there's some other work. They get to learn about the history of our organization, and here at the conference we're sitting right in front of the history display. We're celebrating 120 years anniversary of our association this week, and it's an incredible history, and our people who go through the Leadership Institute need to understand that, and so they get to hear videos from our association historian Chief Carter Jones, who is amazing, and our guys really love that. They get to hear from him throughout the program, and we go to sites throughout our state where some of that history has taken place.
Right.
And so they get that opportunity where that history really comes alive, and that's a great experience. But so they have to learn about that history, and then provide some responses to that as well. And all of that is involved in the selection process to really come up with that right group of candidates who are ready for this. Not everybody is ready for it. It's a fairly elite program. It's intended to be, but by building by having that stringent selection process, we build a great group of candidates so that they interact with each other and develop those relationships that can last through their career and beyond.
And I think it's important, just what you said about it may not be the right time.
That's
We
right.
see that, but we have seen those that, okay, don't just give up there. Apply again. We encourage you to do that because there will be that time.
That's right.
And so don't give up on that. Do it again. If this is something you feel that you want to do it again and keep improving on that until you can get there. So
That's right, and there's members, there's people like me and others in the association that okay, if it's not the right time, we don't want it to be a mystery on why you weren't selected. We
Right.
want to give you some guidance, give you a path forward, so you can work toward that in your career, get to the point where you could be in this program, and then help develop you from there. This is something about developing the potential, the enormous potential that we have in this state and in our fire service.
And we have been able to see so many things come out of, we hadn't got there yet, and I might be stealing your thunder, but about group projects, single projects. You're doing projects, and these projects are coming to life in the fire service.
That's right.
The cancer initiatives, those things that we see come out, mental stress. We have honor guard programs now that are coming out of that and doing, and I get a glimpse at some of those projects. But when it comes to us, it's now in motion, and we're seeing that, and that's just a great opportunity of where some of these things come from.
That's right.
The programs we do today.
Yes. So participants in the program, they're assigned to groups, and they do a group project. We have 3 groups currently, and those topics are selected. The steering committee puts a lot of thought and a lot of work into those, and they are current, relevant issues. These projects aren't just hoops to jump through to
Right.
get your certificate. These are real world problems that we are facing as the South Carolina Fire Service right now, and we need to figure out what to do. So that's what we want those participants to help us do, and then they get to work on that together, and then take their findings and present them before a sort of a mock council and that's to give them that experience that they may have as at some point in their career where they actually have to present before a council. The first time I presented to a city council, real or fictitious, was real, and it was when I was fire chief, and what I wouldn't have given to have had some experience in doing
Absolutely.
that, and then some feedback and some guidance on how to do that more effectively. And that's something that participants in this program will gain when they present their group projects, and then later in the program they do an individual project as well. And like you said, those projects have formed the basis for some of the programs that the association now offers today that are benefiting our members. They came out of this program. They're real issues, relevant issues that members of this program have worked to help improve.
Yeah. And I think that's a big takeaway, is that this doesn't also help us on an individual level, promoting them, developing them into good leaders, but it is also impacting what comes out of it to every member.
That's right.
To every member. So the end result is everybody is getting something out of this program. And I think that's important to see. We may have those 12 individuals, and it's only limited to 12 a year. Everybody has that same access to the opportunity to be involved and be part of it, but the end result affects everybody.
That's a fantastic point. This doesn't just benefit those participants. This benefits all the members of the association by what comes out of it. Great point.
And I know you've now had time to be in it now and see it and get your thoughts and I know you've had these goals for a while, but what were your short-term goals? And you may have already accomplished them or you're in them, versus your long-term goals, where you want to see ultimately you as the development coordinator, where you want to see this program go.
Right. So short-term goals are working with the current group. We've got a great group of guys right now. I'm so excited and really enjoy working with them and really creating a good experience for them this year. In addition to the places that we go, really drawing things out of them, helping them develop their own personal leadership philosophy is something that's really important. A lot of us just kind of assume that our the people that we supervise know what our expectations are for them, but if we haven't communicated that, then they don't know.
Right.
And if we haven't put the work in ourselves to really help us understand our own motivations for leadership. So we're working through that, and the guys are presenting them to each other and critiquing each other and
Right.
giving them feedback. So that's something that is really important and really neat for them to see. And working through that and really having some deliverables in addition to the projects, but some things that they're bringing out of the program, like a written leadership philosophy and some other projects that we'll be working on that they'll have at the completion of the program that I think will serve them well. That's in the short term. The long-term goals, working with two main groups. Certainly, the steering committee that I mentioned earlier. This is not about just my vision for the program, but what will best serve the members of the association and the program in the long run. And I rely on the wisdom and the knowledge of that incredibly accomplished group that serves on the steering committee, who have a passion and a heart for this. They were involved in starting this program.
Absolutely.
And
Yep.
And have supported it through hard work. And we have a vision for where it can go and want to. And so I come to them and we work through that vision together. And then the executive committee. The executive committee supported my position, which I'm very grateful for. And many of them are graduates of the program themselves.
I'm so glad you said that, because that's an important part.
It's huge, and
They're alumni of this group.
That's right. When you look at the alumni and how many of them have gone on to serve the executive committee, I think that probably exceeded the expectations of everyone who thought who first implemented this program. But it when you see everything that the association does and the work that's involved, you want to get involved. You want to contribute, and the executive committee members have done that. They've fallen in love with the association. They've developed a vision for where it can go in the future, and they've jumped in. And in addition to serving their communities and being better leaders there, they're contributing to the future of the South Carolina Fire Service. And it's such a great thing to see. And as alumni, they have a vested interest in the future of this program as well. So we're looking to them, and I just throughout our time here in Myrtle Beach, I've had the opportunity to talk with many of them and talk about ideas that they have and things that we see and goals that we have. They have written into the association's current strategic plan, which is online, available for all of our members to see, that they want to make sure that this program remains relevant and continues to develop to meet the future needs of our association members. Just because it met the needs 15 years ago and is meeting the needs today, we're looking beyond that, and want to make sure that we're developing leaders who will serve their communities well and continue to serve this association well.
And just the networking alone.
That's
and I know you said they fall in love with the association, but I always pick and say we draw them in, we get them in, and we love them too. And it does make us stronger. It makes their community stronger, and it is just a powerful networking opportunity beyond what I think anybody imagines until they're in it.
I think so, and the benefit also to the members of our association who don't benefit, who don't participate in the program directly, is how how well equipped the executive committee members are who go through this program and then go on to serve on the executive committee, because they have that understanding of the intricacies of how the association works before they get in those roles, and that serves them very well. And then those relationships that they have together, they know the other members on the executive committee. They've got those relationships, and so it's a cohesive group that is really bonded and working well together, and they're representing all regions of the state. So it's not that the upstate guys know each other and have an agenda, and the low country has an agenda. No, they all understand. It's bringing it all together, and they're leading our organization into the future as a cohesive unit that is very functional. There's mutual respect. There's affection for each other. They're friends, and they have those relationships that make the work that they do function very well.
Right. Right. And I know we spent a lot of time on leadership, but there's something that you and I get to talk a lot during our, having our relationship now and how we work together closely. You also teach a communications class.
I do, yes.
And when you told us about it, you set us down, you went over it. Just hearing about it was impactful to me. And I am eager to take the class. But I thought it was just noteworthy enough to tell our membership about some of the things that the class has to offer and how impactful it could be.
Yes. So back in 2015, when I was fire chief in North Charleston, we were going through a strategic planning process, and some of the things we identified, some of the challenges we were facing, nearly every single one of them resulted from a communication problem. Either
That's the first on everybody's list. Everybody's list.
It's like every other organization out there. We struggled with communication, and a lot of organizations struggle with that. But then when you look at the structure of the fire service, how we're spread out all over the place, and we work on these different shifts, it's no wonder it's a challenge for us. And so we looked for a resource to help us develop our communication skills. And we came across a class offered through a nonprofit organization called the Chapman Foundation for Caring Communities, and they offer a class called Our Community Listens, and it's a 3-day communication class, and it was developed in the corporate setting to meet the needs, just like what we were looking at. We needed to improve communication, so did they. So they developed this course. And the feedback they kept getting was, yes, it helps me at work. Yes, as a supervisor, I'm able to communicate better. I'm able to work better with others when I use these skills. But it also has improved my relationships at home. They heard things like it saved my marriage. It helped me restore a relationship with an estranged relative. All of these different examples of how it helped them personally and professionally, and so we identified that resource, and I attended the class and was blown away.
Right.
I was fire chief. I had ascended through the ranks in the organization. I thought I knew how to communicate.
Yep.
I had attended all kinds of different training classes, and I know how to do this. And
we think we all know how to listen.
Yeah,
I'm a good
right,
listener.
right.
I listen all the time, right?
And
my kids would say different. I know.
And it's. And what I found was I was doing some things wrong,
right.
And there were also some things that I needed to do a lot better, and it helped me with those skills in a very eye-opening way, but a very practical way as well. So it wasn't like, oh, I'm doing this all wrong. I guess but it gave me a path forward as well in terms of practical skills that I could use to develop that. So I took the class along with one of my deputy chiefs, and then we started sending more people to it. Prior to COVID, we got about 80 of our members through it, and the feedback we got from our members was just tremendous in terms of how how it helped them improve communication and understand how to work with people better, how to confront performance issues, which is really a struggle for a lot of fire officers to do that in a constructive way. The tendency is, we work together for 24 hours or 48 hours, or we've got different shifts out there, but we got to get along. We know that. And so sometimes it's really tough to confront a performance issue, but that's so important because it could literally be a life and death situation.
Right.
So we've got to provide our people with a way to do that, but do it in a way that maintains the relationship. And this course offers that in addition to so many other skills. So yes, I teach that. It's available on the Chapman Foundation for Caring Communities on their website. There's offerings throughout the state of South Carolina, and they also work directly with organizations as well to provide that.
No, and I think that's a great opportunity if our membership is interested. I know I'm eager to take the class, and I joked about that's the number one issue on everybody's list. Yep. But the association does take that so seriously. We want to be able to communicate well with our members. We want them to have the availability to communicate with us. And so I really wanted you to talk about that, just because I find it that it would, it's something we all need. We think we're good at it, and most of the time we are lacking somewhere. But we can improve always, and so thank you for that.
You're welcome.
One last question before we leave.
Sure.
I'm going to ask you this. I ask every leadership person. There's a ton of leadership books out there. So what is your favorite leadership book, if you could tell them to go buy today? Sure.
So my favorite leadership book, it's an oldie, but it's a goodie, and it's Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I've read it many times. I recommend it to people, and there are so many other books that I read that I think, all they've done is taken that and kind of used different stories,
Sure.
But it all comes back to those 7 habits, and I think that's such an important book. It's when I've used those skills, I've seen how well that they work, and I've felt more effective as a leader when I've used those skills. And it's a book that I would recommend to everyone. Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, available at your library. I'm not telling you have to buy anything.
You can go get it for free at the library.
That's right.
Perfect. Well, one other thing we just want to say before we close up here is that he mentioned it earlier. The application process is open now for the Leadership Institute. So please put in if you're interested. It's a great opportunity, and I can't thank you both enough for what you do for the association, Kim and Greg. So thank you what you do for me personally and our membership. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Zorrina.
Thank you.